everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex, and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Marc Silvestri Day, but weirdly enough, this is not Marc Silvestri. So today we're actually going to look at a fill-in issue on Marc Silvestri's Wolverine run from the early 90s. This is Wolverine 51, cover dated February 1991, and it is a fill-in issue on the art side only. Story-wise, the Crunch Conundrum, part 1 of 3. So the next 2 issues, I'm pretty sure, are by Marc Silvestri. So must have been some sort of deadline issue. So Andy Kubert jumped in and produced this issue and did a pretty good job of it. So I think it's worth reviewing still. I talked about, maybe even just in the last review, about the connection I kind of see between Marc Silvestri's art, Greg Capullo's art, and both the Kubert brothers' art, Andy and Adam. So this kind of popped up. I hadn't even realized this was coming up, and so I figured it was a good idea to look at this issue and maybe compare a bit of that, where, you know, as a fill-in issues go, sometimes they're kind of jarring, where this one I find fits in pretty well with the kind of general aesthetic that Marc Silvestri was establishing. As I said before, there's kind of a connection art-wise between all those guys. So on the cover here, I gotta say, love Andy Kubert's art. He inks himself here, because I assume because it's the only signature. Feels like this was done very quickly. There's a roughness to it that's maybe more akin to their father, Joe Kubert. Not that that's a bad thing. He was a great artist and obviously taught both his sons quite a lot. So I just feel like maybe when the Kuberts are rushing a little bit, a bit more of the Joe Kubert comes out, in as much as, like, especially these backgrounds and stuff. The wide open hatching, which maybe also is this idea that they're having the artist emulate Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee. A bit of that is mixed into that as well. Great cover. Cool shot of Wolverine pissed off on the pile of his enemies. So that's all I have to say about that. And also still going to mention that series, that one shot rather, called Reign of Terror, which I've never seen, drawn by Andy Kubert. So seeing this issue makes me want to see that book even more. So we're going to open her up, have a look inside. Script, Larry Hama, of course. Guest pencils, Andy Kubert. Inks, still Dan Green on the inside. Okay, so that probably helps with the art consistency and why it meshes in pretty well with what Marc Silvestri's been doing. Like, again, as I said, it's not too jarring. And I think they have similar, again, aesthetics and storytelling chops. So what a great splash page to start off. I will mention, I think that maybe this is possibly been used for like merchandising and stuff. I feel like I've seen this somewhere, like on a t-shirt or a poster or something. So great shot of Wolverine in action. I'm assuming he's training here in the danger room or something. It says so here, so that must be it. What else did I want to mention about this? Yeah, the teeth. So in the early 90s, it became with Wolverine, I mean, even though he's based off the animal, the Wolverine, there's obviously wolf-like attributes that are, you know, kind of attributed to him as well. So they, you know, and a Wolverine itself does have pretty sharp canine teeth. So at some point, the artist started drawing Wolverine with really sharp canine teeth. I'm not sure where that happened exactly. I think it might be with Jim Lee or maybe a little bit before. I don't feel like Silvestri was doing it much, at least early on when he was doing X-Men, or rather Uncanny X-Men. And John Byrne either, I don't think, was doing that before him. So I think it comes out of like the late 80s, early 90s, and possibly Jim Lee is the guy who started that, and Andy Kubert here continuing with that tradition. So great splash to start off. Let's see what's going on inside. So yeah, we do have Wolverine in the pretty typical scene that we've seen over and over again. Wolverine training, you know, they're trying to dig through his mysterious past and his anger issues, and the other X-Men are watching him and kind of commenting on Wolverine's personality. Nothing truly original really within these first few pages, right? What's going to be kind of fun about this issue is this section here, before I turn the page, I guess, just to make sure everyone understands. Get ready, Wolverine. I'm punching up a new threat program for you. If you will don the virtual reality visualizer and sensors, we shall begin. So, you know, virtual reality had been kind of a concept for a while, I'm sure, but in the early 90s, still not something that's fleshed out or that really does exist in real life, right? So what's going to be interesting about this issue as I turn the page is how Andy Kubert kind of handles this idea of seeing video game or digital avatars through a virtual reality helmet when this is, again, in 1991. That's right. Just making sure there. So Wolverine dons this equipment, which, let's be honest, just harkens back to Weapon X and makes him kind of look like that. So there must be some weird kind of psychological effect that it's having on him as well, possibly. And here's where we start to see kind of how Andy Kubert is seeing virtual reality depictions of characters, right? So even Wolverine himself. So everything just kind of gets kind of more squared off and blocky, which is interesting. It's an interesting way to go about it. Not much other than that changes, right? So the layouts and things you'll see are pretty similar to what he's doing already. And again, there's just like this, this panel here with the technology in the hand and stuff. This could totally be like a Mark Silvestri panel or a Greg Capullo panel. So here's where we get more of that virtual reality representation. He's even brought the hatching in with it. So again, kind of a very 90s touch to the idea of virtual reality. But again, it's like historically interesting to me. This is, I guess, what they were assuming digital. It's almost like Roblox, right? In a weird way. Like he kind of predicted Roblox or something. And he doesn't skip on the storytelling. Even as a fill-in artist, he's doing a great job. The Kuberts are known for being great storytellers, right? Not skimping on anything, and delivering some cool images. Once again, got a pretty good down shot here done by Andy Kubert. I think it looks great. Seeing Sabretooth kind of digitized here is kind of funny. It's, he just seems to just pour on the horizontal hatching when it's all digital. That's kind of here we get hatching in multiple different directions, right, on our figures in reality. And then once we get to the digital world, it's almost, there are exceptions, but mostly a horizontal kind of pattern that he's following. Some interesting use of borders here that I really haven't seen before. A smaller panel, black is a bit thicker here than it is here. Just things I'm noticing. Strangely, it feels like some reality, I guess, is starting to cross over. So where, he's fighting in the digital world, the representation visually by the artist shows the same kind of stuff happening in the real world, right? So again, those big teeth, right? What I mentioned earlier. So what we kind of are seeing here, again, is something we've seen over and over. Wolverine kind of going overboard and becoming more animalistic in his dealing of his adamantium blades to his enemies. So he's basically killed everyone off here in the virtual reality world, and this kind of odd, ow, like a werewolf. Again, he is Wolverine. Maybe he could yell or something, but he's not based on a wolf. He's based on a Wolverine. I don't know that Wolverines make this sound, so I guess it kind of makes sense. It is a comic book. So we've got all the Wolverine tropes in this issue, right? Wolverine kind of, I need some time off on my own. Getting on his motorcycle and driving off, right? And there's always either Jubilee or in the movie, I guess, the first X-Men movie, Rogue, like, where are you going? When will you be back? So kind of a slice of life of Logan. He goes to bars and plays pool, apparently. I guess that makes sense with his character, right? It's nice to see it once in a while. Always hanging out with some scuzzy looking fellas here. And of course, well, this lady's attracted to Wolverine, as they always are. I guess Wolverine's planning on bedding her, bringing her to the motel. So Jubilee, I guess, decides to go into town and catch up on what Wolverine's been doing. I like this panel here. Again, there's this whole page to me is very Mark Silvestri. I don't know if he was asked to kind of follow that or again, like I said, I feel they already have similar kind of instincts overall. But, I could almost believe if you told me, Mark Silvestri drew this page, I would almost believe it. And again, I love when characters pop out of the panel, create that extra layer. McFarlane does it a lot. I mentioned it when I review his books. Just having limbs or heads popping out of the panel just adds that extra layer, makes it the dimension of it or the layering of it, the depth of it even more depthy. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I think that sounds about right. Just kind of a funny sequence of Jean Grey opening up a can of Coke. That's funny. I don't think it's any kind of product placement officially, but I could be wrong. Did Coke pay for that product placement? So basically what we realize is that woman is not Jean Grey and not what she claimed to be, you know, as the blonde girl earlier, but is actually Mystique, right? Which will become much more popular with the X-Men movies. And she's trying all the tricks, so she's changing into Silver Fox here, right? Mystique can change form. She's a shapeshifter, right? And I don't know exactly. She's trying to bed Wolverine or something. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I'm not following the storyline too much. This shot here looks to me strangely like Mark Teixeira in a way. Just this one face here. And then we get back to the B story with, it's been a while, with Albert and LCD. I will say Andy Kubert here makes her look maybe a little too old as compared to what's been established before. Works better here. And again, this is one of those pages, like, I assume he looked at some Mark Silvestri pages for the design of this guy, who I think is Mask, right? It's a Mark Silvestri page to me. Other than this, that's kind of clued me in. This could definitely be drawn by Mark Silvestri. So they're still with the Hunter in Darkness, I believe is the name of that werewolf character, right? There's a bunch of them, so it gets confusing. It's not Wendigo. And basically finally pull the ship back out of the Hudson River. Bit of nostalgia. We do have the two World Trade Centers there still, because it is 1991 at this point. They're still standing. We got about 10 years left. And back with Mystique and Wolverine. Always thought this, you know, I get the effect that he's going for. It's kind of that Sin City Frank Miller Chiaroscuro kind of style, but as great as Andy Kubert is pretty much throughout the issue, I think the art looks great. This just doesn't work as well. I get what he's going for. It works in as far as storytelling, but just this drawing I just find is kind of weird and a little rough. Kind of stands out from the rest of the great artwork. And of course, bringing back some, I believe this is Arthur Adams kind of period X-Men characters. So this is Spiral, drawn very well. Once again by Andy Kubert. Looks great here. Got some limbs popping out of the frame. Could have been a little more obvious maybe with some of those, but great kind of pinup to end the issue. And that little element of Wolverine's stogie cigar in the foreground I think is a nice touch. Just very inventive and adds once again an extra layer, a lot more depth to the image. All right, so there you have it, guys. That was Wolverine issue 51. If you have any answers to my questions or extra comments and insider knowledge about this issue, please let me know in the comments. I would appreciate it. I do try to respond to comments as best as I can. Those of you who already subscribed and are still watching, you're still there, loyal to the channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Those of you who are watching but are not subscribed, please do so below. It's a quick second for you. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it really helps us out and helps spread the word about the Big Baby Review channel. So everyone out there, thank you so much, and have an awesome day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.